name's John. I grew up in Queens and always dreamed of having my own place in the city, somewhere bigger than the shoebox I called home for years. When I finally managed to buy a little townhouse in Astoria with my fiance, I thought I was officially adulting. Yeah, turns out I was starring in a low-budget horror flick. The house was on a quiet tree-lined block where everyone sweeps their stoops like it's a competition. To the right, a retired couple who can't stop talking about the Mets. Across the street, a couple of hipsters with pikes hung on their walls. And on the left, nothing. Curtains drawn, an old car in the driveway, zero movement. I shrugged. It's New York. Some folks are just recluses. Night 2, I learned our bedroom wall was so thin I could practically hear the subway rumble from a mile away. Around 2 in the morning, I heard a murmur through the wall, a high-pitched, almost cartoonish voice. Probably the radio, I told my fiance. But then came the knocks. 3 slow taps right where my head was. My fiance squeezed my hand. This is not normal, John. A few days later, I saw a tall, skinny guy in a gray hoodie moving boxes next door. He caught me staring and waved, then asked with a grin way too big if we liked Italian food. My nonna's lasagna is famous, he boasted, in that Queens drawl. I smiled politely and declined. The next day, he showed up at our door with a box of cannoli and that same frozen smile. We chatted about nothing, but his eyes were scanning our hallway like he was cased in a joint. The weeks that followed were a mix of mundane chores and mounting tension. The murmur through the wall continued, sometimes with tapping. My fiancée swore she heard a woman whisper, "Help me." I called the cops. 2 NYPD officers knocked on his door, nothing. They poked around our yard and told me it was probably just the plumbing. In this town, even the plumbing will mess with your head. The next night, I woke up feeling watched. The room was dark except for the orange glow of the streetlights. In the corner, near the closet, I saw my neighbor's silhouette. He was clutching a recipe book and whispering in that weird high voice I'd heard through the wall. "You like lasagna, John?" I screamed like a banshee. I flicked on the light and poof! No one. Door still locked. My fiance bolted upright, and I must have looked insane trying to explain that my neighbor had just offered me a midnight lasagna in our bedroom. The next morning, I had enough. Called the realtor, put the house up for sale, and refused to go back alone. A week later, a handwritten lasagna recipe showed up in our mailbox. I felt my blood run cold and tossed it without opening it. Now, I'm in an apartment overlooking Central Park. I'd rather hear cab horns and tourists than a guy in a hoodie whispering through my bedroom wall. And if a neighbor ever offers you cannoli at 2 in the morning, say thanks and start looking for a new zip code.